Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty. I'm the Christian Whistleblower, and welcome to the Gospel Truth channel. And we're here to give you something I think that's a little bit fun today. And I also believe it's very instructional and very spiritually enriching, or enriching. We can make up words. It's our program. Or very spiritually enriching. I think it'll help you on a couple of different areas. And I know I'm a little early, but I wanted to get started early because I just couldn't wait. And plus, I know Heidi and Jenny are going live, and I wanted to jump on before maybe they do. So tonight I'll be on the R. Wayne Steiger channel, along with Heidi Vandenberg. And Tanok, I did get your email, not just because you said I hate you. Now, I'll be on the R. Wayne Steiger channel with Heidi Vandenberg. We've got a major announcement regarding the December 10th event here in Florida. So I'm looking forward to sharing that with you. Actually, we'll probably have Heidi share that with you. We're looking very forward to it. And thank you, Sue. Sue says that she was just sending me positive energy, and I popped up. No coincidence. No, absolutely no coincidence at all. Nothing to see here. Move along. Some months back, a number of months back, 2-3 months ago, I had the chance to go to GRACELAND. And it wasn't my first trip to GRACELAND, which, of course, is the home of Elvis Presley. I'd actually been there a couple of times with Charlie Hodge and my friend Gary. We had the special back, insider view and tour of the house. And, of course, we were asked not to take any photos at that time. But when I went back to the house. We went during Elvis week. Again, Gary and I. Charlie's no longer with us. And we went to the house, and I went through, and I took a lot of photos. And I want to share with you the photos I took in my tour of GRACELAND, the home of Elvis Presley. And I want to share with you some insider knowledge that many of you don't know, and things that you wouldn't know unless you lived there for almost 20 years like Charlie did, and shared that with us. And I want to share spiritual ideas with you as well that people just don't know. Regular people just don't know because it's information that's simply not available. And it's stuff that's pretty highly guarded, I guess you would say. And I'm going to try to get over here to where I can do this and show you these pictures without getting myself into a pickle again with my lack of skill here in the computer realm. So I'm going to try to go ahead and do a share screen. So I'm going to share my screen, and then we're going to go over to the photos, and we're going to make them big. And you can see this was a few pounds ago and some facial hair ago. This is me out in front of the gates at GRACELAND, the iconic GRACELAND gates. You can see, this is Elvis's profile here stylistically, and there's me in front of the gates. And then here I am in front of the ubiquitous Elvis sign. Talks about, this is his address, 4E77, and it talks about Elvis and, what GRACELAND actually is. And then this is a view of the house from the street. So it's a mansion, but it's not like a huge complex like you would see some of these stars having today. And this was in August, the week of August 16th. So it's a beautiful sight. And there goes Heidi and Jenny. Now, this is the Stutes Bearcat, or the Stutes Blackhawk, I'm sorry. And this picture right here in the background is the very last picture of Elvis taken alive. That's the last photograph of Elvis taken alive, taken on the early morning of August 16th, 1977. And Elvis was driving this car. He was driving this Stutes Blackhawk. So this is the car that Elvis was driving when the last picture of him was taken. So quite an iconic photo there. And here's me again kneeling down in front of the car. And I mean, that was what he was driving, man. The last car that he ever drove, the last picture that he was ever taken a picture in. This is a 1955 Cadillac of his. There I am in front of the Cadillac again. And here we are back in front of the Blackhawk one more time. And I'm glad I shaved that thing off, to be honest with you. But this was back at GRACELAND. These are some of Elvis's motorcycles. And these are some of the gold records from Elvis. Some of the gold and platinum records that are there in his office. This is his, obviously his Army uniform, his original Army field jacket. And this are some of the books that Elvis was reading. The Beloved Prophet, Seth Speaks. I can't remember what these are. Here's a couple of Bibles. I don't really want to try to zoom in, and let's see if I can zoom in without messing things up. Oh yeah, look at that. So he was reading Seth Speaks, The Beloved Prophet. What is this? Philo and Religions of India. And what does this one say? Huh. Interesting. So he was obviously reading some deep stuff. He was a deep thinker, Elvis was. A Search in Secret India. So, you know, he was looking at all forms of spirituality, and these are the things that were actually on his bedside there on the last day. And for some reason, they have one of Gene Simmons' costumes in there and one of Justin Timberlake's costumes in there. And this is when Elvis wasn't feeling so spiritual, and he shot a hole in a TV set. Yes, this was a new TV in 1977, and Elvis shot a hole in it. Interesting, huh? And we'll close that down. Here's another view of the TV that Elvis shot. These were some of the books that were right there by the TV, and this actually has the bullet hole from the TV that he also shot. So interesting stuff. That's just a little advertisement. Here's the Lisa Marie airplane. This was Elvis's private jet. Of course, his daughter's name is Lisa Marie. And this is the jet. And this is me going onto the jet. And here's the inside of the jet. The inside of the Lisa Marie, ladies and gentlemen. The bed in the Lisa Marie, ladies and gentlemen. And now here we are at the house. This is the Graceland house. Kind of the iconic picture you always see. And when I went up to the house, this was when I first went with Charlie and Gary. I had no real spiritual impressions because I was still a silly Pentecostal evangelist. So I didn't really have any real good spiritual impressions. But as I went up this time, and this was before Heidi and Jenny and I did our epic show, and I think really released the spirit of Elvis from the house, he was definitely here. You could feel him very heavy in the house. And as I walked in, you know, here's me. Have I lost a little weight? What do you think? Wow. So that was a whole bunch of, that's a whole bunch of nana sandwiches right there, baby. Yeah. Give me a little nana sandwich. And that was a little bit of he didn't really eat fried banana sandwiches, just peanut butter and banana. But anyway, but as you walk into the house, this is right to your right as you walk in. This is the living room. And if you remember these peacocks, he did have one of his suits with these peacocks, and there's a TV like the one he shot. And this is a custom made, you know, big white couch. And as you walk in, you could feel the presence of Elvis Presley. And I know that happens with, you know, here's a baby grand piano with famous people, but I really sensed his literal presence was in the building. This Elvis had not left the building at this point. I can promise you that. And here I am, you know, looking back into the living room without a selfie stick. And this is the bathroom that's off the living room as you go down the hall. And this is Gladys's bedroom. Gladys being his mother. And if you go up these stairs, which they don't let you do anymore, but we've gone up with Gary and Charlie. If you go up these stairs and you make a right, right about here, well, it's maybe back over here, you see two great big leather doors, leather covered doors, and they open French style. And that's Elvis's bedroom. And if you go in there, there's a great big, huge circular bed. There's his bathroom. And of course, that's the place where Elvis was when he died. And this is the view Charlie would have had running up the stairs when they heard the thump. Well, they actually didn't run up when they heard the thump. They only ran up later. But this is you go up these stairs, turn right, and here's Elvis's bedroom right over here. They don't let you go in there anymore, and it's quite sobering. I remember standing there and looking at the place where the king fell. This obviously is the dining room. Me in the dining room, dinner at Elvis's, the kitchen, and, you know, right at this bar, and at this bar is where Charlie and Elvis used to hang out a lot, and his grandma would make him food. His aunt would make him food, and they'd sit there and eat. They spent a lot of time right here in this kitchen. So even though he was the most famous man in the world, you know, he was just a regular guy. And this is, of course, the infamous jungle room that everyone hears about. And then Michael, what was Michael Walking in Memphis guy, you know, singing about down in the jungle room, you know, there it is. And this is an interestingly decorated room. Look at this monkey. How creepy is that thing? But walking through this house, you just felt not only the presence of Elvis, but kind of a foreboding presence. A presence in a sense that he was not at all happy, and he wasn't. Here's the pool room, obviously. This is like a curtain up here on the roof, and it's all over the whole walls. It's really quite well done, and the couch matches. So very interestingly done. Of course, very 1970s. And no, that's not Elvis's. That is not Elvis's ghost. That's me. And there's another picture of the pool room. Another picture of the jungle room, called Jungle for obvious reasons. Now you know why they call it the jungle room. And evidently Elvis or Priscilla, I'm not sure which one, really liked this monkey stuff, because there was a bunch of monkeys in that place. It's interesting to notice the Quetzalcoatl furniture. But if you've never been there, it's worth going. These bullets were dug out of the woodwork and swept from the floor. This is where Elvis and the guys used to use this room as a firing range. So Elvis was very much into firearms. He very much enjoyed, you know, the whole idea of law enforcement. And this is the backyard of Graceland. Elvis and Priscilla enjoyed riding horses. So this is, you know, you go out here and why do they have it like this? Well, that's so horses can't walk through, but people can. So this is Graceland right here. This is the backyard of Graceland. Most people never see this. So count yourself privileged to see the backyard of Graceland. And there's big goatee guy looking out the back door of Graceland. And these things were a tour. They tell you a tour, and it's actually John Stamos giving you a guided tour. I never plugged it in. I don't know why I kept those things on. And here is a look from the backyard of Graceland looking back at the house. This is what the back of Graceland looks like. So it's not a palatial building. It's, you know, a rather conservative home for the most famous man on the planet. And he was very happy here. And there again is me in the back of the house. And this is Elvis's birth certificate. And I hate to, but I just can't help it. I mean, his name is not in all capital letters. So I just wanted to point that out. It's not in all capital letters, but at any rate. And this is what I gave to Heidi to do Elvis's birth chart. And I should do his numerology, or maybe Trisha can do his numerology. Maybe we'll do that on our Sunday show. His older brother, Jesse Guerin, was still born at 4 a.m. and Elvis came at 4:35 a.m. January 8th, 1935. And this is a picture, you know, of Gladys. This is some of Gladys's things. You know, I heard it's one of Gladys's dress. It's actually the dress she's wearing in that photograph. That's probably why they put it there. But this is kind of some of Gladys's things, just to let you know about his mother, who looks to me strangely like Madame Blavatsky. And I have advanced and questioned and even maybe suggested that Blavatsky and Gladys Presley have some type of a psychic link, maybe even a reincarnation link. And this is Elvis, you know, getting out of Hume's junior high school. And this is one of the many awards that he got from civic organizations for his great charitable work. This is the deed to Graceland. And here's the down payment check that Elvis's daddy, Vernon, wrote. I don't know if Elvis didn't have a checking account at that time or what, but it's $1,000 down on Graceland. And that was the check that they wrote. And there's the deed that they got for the purchase of Graceland. And that's a bad picture of a bad picture. This is Elvis's actual wedding suit. This is the suit he wore when he married Priscilla. I'm not sure if that's actually Priscilla's dress, but it's a replica of the one she wore. But this is the actual suit that Elvis wore on his wedding to Priscilla. And here's a picture of them in happy times. Of course, this is Lisa Marie. Elvis, this is about, what is it, 68-ish, maybe 69, maybe 70, looking at his very best. And that's an oil painting that's there in the house. And this was Elvis's desk. This was Elvis's desk in his upstairs office. The Looking Glass of God. What else was he reading here? Something about the lotus, more Indian spirituality. So there you go. And that's Billie Jean King in the background. No, it's not. I'm just making that up. Here's a picture of me and Elvis, of course, a very, very young Elvis Presley, and an older Jeffrey Daugherty. Now, I shared with you that Elvis really loved law enforcement. And by the way, it's so funny. What you talk about the infamous figures. This is Dr. Nicopolis, Dr. George Nicopolis, the guy that took a lot of the blame for giving Elvis too much medication. That's debatable whether he did or not. But that's Dr. Nick right there. That's Charlie Hodge right there. And Charlie's the one who took us through the house earlier. This is Vernon, Elvis's daddy. Interesting stuff, huh? But the reason that this picture is there is to show you how much Elvis loved law enforcement. And Elvis would collect these badges from different law enforcement agencies, the badges and patches. So these were just some of the ones that he had, some of the ones that he had collected. A great respect for law enforcement. And Heidi, when she did his chart, showed you that that's in his chart, that he loved and respected law enforcement. This is one of his pistols, a rather dandy looking pistol. I might, if I might say myself. And here is Captain Elvis Presley of the Denver Police Department, an investigator of the Denver Police Department, Captain Elvis Presley, an official police captain of the Denver Police Department. Elvis's signature, of course, he was made one in January 28, 1976. So the man definitely loved law enforcement. And whoops, I don't know if they presented him with this pistol or not. I didn't get the full story on that. I don't believe so. And this is the pool of Graceland. Many of you have pools this big in your backyard. And again, you could just feel the foreboding presence of Elvis. He wasn't happy. And if you go into this channel and search Jeffrey Daugherty, Elvis Presley, or just Jeffrey Daugherty, Elvis on YouTube, you'll find the videos that I did with Heidi and Jenny, and you can find out why it was so foreboding and why now I guarantee you that you don't have that sense of foreboding at Graceland, because I don't believe Elvis is there any longer. We brought some news to the public. I helped him release from that place. And remember, we talked about Jesse Guerin being born about a half hour before Elvis stillborn. Well, this is the memorial to his brother, Jesse Guerin, January 8th, 1935. And this is Gladys, his mother. This is Gladys's grave. She was a great person, a great wife and mother. She was loved by many. We loved her dearly, and she is sadly missed. Elvis wrote that himself. She died, of course, in 1958, not too long after Elvis had gone into the Army. And here's the whole family plot right here. And this is the grave of Elvis Aaron Presley. Much is made of this right here, that his name was really just A-R-O-N. And there's two A's, so that obviously proves that Elvis isn't there. Elvis isn't dead. Well, the fact of the matter is that Elvis preferred the spelling of double A. This, according to Charlie and many of the Elvis insiders that I spoke to. So it's not a conspiracy. It doesn't prove that he's not there. It doesn't prove that he's still alive or that he didn't die in 1977. What it proves is that he didn't like A-R-O-N and wanted it to be double A-R-O-N on his gravestone. He was a precious gift from God we cherished and loved dearly. He had a God-given talent that he shared with the world, and without a doubt, he became the most widely acclaimed, capturing the hearts of young and old alike. He was admired not only as an entertainer, but as a great humanitarian for his generosity and his kindness for his fellow man. He revolutionized the field of music and received its highest awards. And the rest of it, we can't read, but you can read it yourself. And there's actually on this grave now something that my son gave me to place upon the grave. I did that for him. Here's another view of the grave of the king of rock and roll, Elvis Presley. And another view of the grave of the king of rock and roll, Elvis Presley. And yet another view where you can see Vernon, his daddy, next to him. And then here's the house. This is Graceland from another view. And this is yours truly in front of Graceland. Yours truly in front of Graceland. Yours truly being silly in front of Graceland. And this is Sun Record Studios, where it all started. Even though all the tourists like to go into this part of the building, this is a new part of the building, and this is where Elvis would have walked in. This is where Elvis did walk in. This is the very same door, the very same doorknob that a young Elvis Presley walked into and made demo recordings that started all of history. The other part of this building wasn't there. That's all new and done up. There's a big store in there, and of course, it's all about making a few dollars. But this is how Sun Records appeared when Elvis went in. And I mean, you're standing right there at the doorway, literally, of history. The door, you know, when he walked through there, the world changed. So that's Sun Records. And there's another view of Sun Records. And of course, this is a little known picture of me with Elvis in 1977. It's amazing how well I've aged, isn't it? Yeah, the King and I were just hanging out in the jungle room, doing some Jello shots, you know, hanging out like bros do. Of course, that's not true. This is something they do at Graceland. They can superimpose you on a picture of Elvis, and it's rather well done. It really is. I mean, even if you zoom in on it, it's pretty well done. I mean, it doesn't really look like it's me and Elvis, but it kind of looks like it's me and Elvis, doesn't it? I mean, you could almost sell that. The lighting's not quite perfect, but hey, what do you expect for 35 bucks, right? So the king of rock and roll and the Christian whistleblower. But in all seriousness, I really believe that Elvis, his spirit had not been released from that house because of the things that had been done to the people that he loved by the estate and those that were running the estate, the things that had been said about him that were inaccurate. And I think that if you go and watch those other shows, just put in Jeffrey Darty, Elvis on YouTube, and you'll be able to find them without any problem. And you'll be able to know and be privy to something that was really pretty amazing, I think. I would say completely amazing. And let me just show you how you can go and see those videos. I'll share this and show this to you. So when you're on the Jeff Daugherty YouTube channel, which it's taken us time to get to, but that's where you are watching this now. Oh, look, Jeff is live right now. My trip to Graceland, Elvis Presley Home and Spiritual Impressions. Jeff Daugherty, Elvis. These are good. This is about the book I wrote about Elvis and Paul McCartney. Those are really good. This is really good as well. Watch that. And here's the ones that we did with Heidi and Jenny. This is really good. I would recommend this. Will show you why the foreboding sense of Elvis was at the house. And this will show you why the foreboding sense of Elvis is no longer at the house. I believe Elvis has moved on from this realm and has moved on to wherever he is meant to move on to. This is really good too. I would recommend that you look at this one. All of them that have to do with Elvis are really powerful videos. So you can see there's one, what is there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's about 12 videos about Elvis, and it will give you the entire idea of the spiritual nature of what was going on in the life, the death, and the afterlife even of Elvis Presley. So let's go ahead and look into the chat room and see what you folks have to see. You've done me the honor of listening to me. I should at least take a look at what you have to say. And let me just remind you, tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern, I'll be with Wayne Steiger on his channel. I believe Heidi Vandenberg is also scheduled to join us. And at 7 p.m., I'm going to be talking with a very interesting young lady that I just came into contact with today about vampires, sacred femininity, and the state of women in the world today. Live show, 7 p.m. Eastern. That should be very, very interesting, folks. So let's see what folks have to say about this question or about this. Elvis had no idea he was a deep thinker. Oh, yeah, he was very, very deeply into spirituality. Sang in Cool House, sorry about his broken message. You're a cool person, thank you. I appreciate that, Philip. Nixon did give him a badge. He was actually a DEA agent. Elvis Presley means all wise one from the Priest Meadows. That's interesting. I'm going to go to the Georgia Guidestones the week after Thanksgiving. I didn't want to go up there next week during the Thanksgiving rush. So I'm going to go up probably the Monday after Thanksgiving. I'm really getting into numerology. So yeah, I like numerology. I've always been interested in it. I'm really starting to do it. And yeah, well, you got to remember this was back in the 50s when he put the down payment down. It was a nice tux. He was very, very thin. She was much prettier, I think, before she had the work done. I'm glad you shaved the beard off. I am too, and so is my mother. Johnny Cash, yep. Because you're mine, I walk the line. Johnny Cash. Met him at the Piggly Wiggly in Nashville, believe it or not. Gary and I were walking through the Piggly Wiggly. It wasn't in Nashville, it was in Hendersonville. And we met Johnny Cash and he was there with Marty Stewart. Marty Stewart? Yeah, Marty Stewart. Hello, thanks for your music. You're welcome, boys. And that was that. Let's see. You know what, T.A. Stingblad, that really pisses me off. A lot of unresolved issues, absolutely. A lot of unresolved issues. Johnny Cash How do you highlight someone's name? I'm not sure how to do that either. Just happens when I put in the @ sign. Oh, the @ sign. Okay. My dad was a sailor, says Rune Star Dragon. Bought Elvis's first album in Denmark. How about that? I can hardly wait to 7 p.m., Jeff. That's going to be fun. Interesting, Jeff, about vampires. Yes. Johnny Cash helped my father stop drinking. There's some irony there, isn't there? Numerology is amazing. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. A tour of Graceland and some talk about the spiritual implications of the life and death of Elvis Presley. We'll see you again at 7 p.m., which is about 2 hours. Vampires, femininity, and other stuff. And then 9 o'clock tonight with Arwayne Steiger, Heidi Vandenberg, major announcement about the December 10th gathering here in Clearwater, Florida. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower, helping you to guide your own spirit, master your own ascension, and be your own guru. I'm here to encourage you to stay fearless, and keep asking questions and keep questioning answers as you unindoctrinate yourself.